and we're going to go through it. And while I'm sharing it, how are you, Dr. Al and Chris? How are you guys doing?
Doing fine. Safe, away from COVID.
Good. And Chris?
The same. Trying to avoid COVID. That's it. I'm not. I don't want to have.
So let's look at clinicaltrials.gov. Okay, we're going to look at these 3 studies that are not yet recruiting. Okay, and we're going to talk, Dr. Al is going to talk the science. Me and Chris are going to talk the practical aspects of doing this in your site. And Dr. Al will as well because he owns a clinic. And then Monica will as well. And Monica has some stats she wanted to share too. So let's go to the first one, Dr. Al. You said you're interested in this one, the phase 1b/2 trial, the cell vaccine to prevent COVID-19.
Using the, I think using the dendritic cell as the vector or the carrier for an antigen to be carried for the body to produce antibody is an old idea, but the novel part about it is the way they're introducing this. Wow, what is this? The way they're introducing this thing is through autologous dendritic cell loading the SARS-CoV antigen in different dosing with granulocytic GM-CSF, which is the medication we use to boost the white blood cell after the chemotherapy. And
with or without GM. Okay, I see. So this is adaptive phase 1b/2 trial vaccine, autologous dendritic cells loaded with antigens from SARS-CoV-2. So have you seen this kind of a mechanism before?
No.
In other indications?
No, this is a very novel approach for introducing the antigen to the body through GM-CSF and dendritic cells.
Okay, so let's look at the detailed description, okay? And then Chris, feel free to chime in. We're gonna get to the inclusion-exclusion criteria and the different arms and the treatment arms. And then we're gonna go through, you know, how we would possibly do this study if we were a site interested in this study, as an example. And we're gonna speculate on what the budget might be. I don't know. That's Chris's expertise, is what's the budget. So here, subjects eligible for treatment will be those who are not actively infected with SARS. So any of us can join if we wanted to. No evidence of prior infection, and give informed consent for vaccination. After enrolling, subjects will provide a 5 milliliter of serum from which a rapid test for anti-coronavirus antibodies will be performed, and 50 milliliters blood from peripheral blood monocytes will be isolated and differentiated. So anything unusual so far, Dr. Al, about this?
I think everything is so far very, very good in explaining the trial.
Okay. The autologous dendritic cell will then be incubated for 2 days with SARS-CoV-2 antigens. Safety and quality testing will be performed on a small quantity, and the remaining DCV will be cryopreserved for shipping. Okay, so they're taking your own, basically. So how does this work, Dr. Al?
This is they're trying to it's a phase 1 study, so it's only to see the safety of the study in a patient, where they're going to introduce an antigen through the dendritic cell to the body, and they're going to measure the antibody that's produced through this DCV, dendritic cell vaccine. Okay, yes. And they will measure it in different doses. They're going to give the GM-CSF to enhance the response and the inflammation that can happen through the vaccine, and see if it is lower dose of GM-CSF better than higher dose, or if it is gonna have any effect comparing to the placebo people. The all the volunteer in this study going to be healthy individual to measure their response. No one will be infected, and they're going to measure the COVID-19 body response to it in different doses.
So once the study drug is ready, which is 2 days, the
Mainly,
subject.
they're going to take the antigen, incubate it with dendritic cells in the body, and
Okay.
give it to the patient. And then after that, giving the patient GMCSF, trying to boost the immune system and see how, and then measuring the vaccine, the titer of the antibody in the body to see how long. And most probably they're going to, one of the efficacy and the optimal dose of the vaccine.
Yeah. Here's the primary outcomes: confirm safety. So 6 months for the subject. Confirm safety by adverse event monitoring.
Because it's phase 1
secondary
study.
outcome. Yeah. Do you think there's any possible risk to subjects with this?
I think the main risk gonna happen. I don't think it's not a live vaccine. They will not get infected. Maybe allergic reaction, the main thing, if it happens.
Okay. Now let's get into so it's pretty straightforward. It seems like they want 180 participants. So when I'm a research site and I'm looking at this number, okay, and I'm thinking, because remember, this study is not yet recruiting. So this means that the sponsor might be looking for more sites, okay? The study hasn't started, so they need 180 patients. Now, I don't know, like you feel like there's no real dangers here, but to get a patient to want to do a study, and this one, the inclusion-exclusion criteria, okay, let's go to the inclusion-exclusion criteria.
Hey, Dan.
Yeah.
May I ask a question? And it's just a curiosity question.
Yeah.
So, Dr. Al, flu vaccinations they don't work that well, right? I mean, it's not 100% that they're going to work, flu vaccinations. So we don't have a really good track history of vaccinations for viruses. And I'm just pure speculation, what do you think the possible outcome would be for a COVID vaccination to work? I mean, to work entirely, 100%.
For COVID-19?
Yeah.
There is more than 200 companies now trying to approach the vaccine in different way. Okay, and I think last week one of the companies that they in phase 1 and 2 studies, Moderna, showed some good result on the vaccine. But the question comes back is how long gonna last the vaccine? Gonna last 3 months, 6 months? Because it's a protein in the body, gonna be metabolized, gonna be died, the body gonna get rid of it. But it depends on how long the immune system in the body going to be activated with this anti-gene.
So it might be something that will have to be taken.
Nobody knows. The bottom line, nobody knows now. Everything is experimental under study, and we don't have a final results.
Okay. So you think the possibility exists that it could work better than a flu vaccination?
I think we're going to find a vaccine, but it's a matter of time.
Okay.
Much worse disease than this, we had a vaccine for it.
Right.
Okay. Like the flu. Okay. Even they mutate and have a new strain every couple of years, but we still have a vaccine. We can find a vaccine. And now we have a mechanism when there's a mutation in the flu. Okay. The vaccine comes out within, less than 6 months.
But oftentimes the flu vaccination is only maybe 40% effective. Right?
I know, but that's what we have. 40% effective because of the mutation that can happen.
Right. So probably the same sort of scenario for COVID then, would you expect?
Could be. Okay. We don't know.
Right. So doctor, you think the treatment would work better than the vaccine?
The treatment for COVID. What do you
Yeah.
mean?
So what happened is there are a lot of, I mean, there are a lot of studies, right? And I was looking, and most of the studies, I will say like probably 60% are doing research for treatment to help improve the patient's symptoms, or, you know, to get them to the other side, I guess. And then probably 40% are vaccines. So do you think the treatment will work better than probably the vaccine?
Monica, here we're talking about two different things. The vaccine is to prevent the disease, mainly.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Okay, and treatment is to treat the symptoms that can happen with the virus, because of the virus, like the ARDS or the coagulopathy or the other side effect that can happen because of the virus itself. So we're talking about we do what we call supportive care now for the side effect or the symptom that can happen because of the virus, but we're trying to find the vaccine to stop the virus from spreading and causing these symptoms.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, so let's bring it back for the doctors that are watching, okay? So the inclusion criteria, if me and Chris and Dr. Al and Monica, I mean, we all look at studies for our sites, we would look at this inclusion-exclusion criteria. This is the entire thing, okay? It's 18 years or older with an ECOG score of 0 or 1, which basically means you're fully mobile or you're just slightly inhibited, but it doesn't impact your daily activities. So that's just about everybody. Okay, and then exclusion criteria is you have to have a positive COVID-19 testing, or been in a previous COVID-19 vaccine study, pregnant, known hypersensitivity to GM-CSF, known active immune deficiency disease or active HIV, HBV, HCV. So this is a relatively easy study to enroll patients. And it's only being done so far at one location, Hoag in Newport Beach, and the sponsor is Avita. So they're a biotech, it seems like. And I don't know, do you think, Chris, that Hoag will be able to enroll all 180? Or if you're a doctor out there that are, you know, seeing patients and you think many of them are asking you already, hey, do you have vaccines? I know we don't have vaccines, but do you have a study that I can join? You know, I'm a little bit worried. I would like to have even an experimental vaccine. Anything good? I mean, is this something that realistically you would approach these guys about if you had the capability?
So, as you like to often frame it, gun to my head, I would say initially I was thinking they can enroll 100 patients initially. Whether or not that they're capable of that, we'll see, right? But I would bet if you were to contact them right now before they're even enrolling, you would get the standard response of, we'll keep your information on file. At this time, we're not looking for sites. Something like that, I would bet. And absolutely, I could be wrong because I'm guessing, but
yeah. Well, it doesn't hurt to ask, but this is one example. We have two more. Dr. Al, would this study be something you'd be comfortable putting your patients in? You're a doctor.
I think it's easy study, straightforward. There is no major complication or major side effect can happen from this study for my patient. I think it is a very feasible study for my site. Okay,
and we'll be following this too as well. The dendritic cell vaccine. Okay, so that's the phase 1b/2 trial. Now the second study, okay, this one is the Treat Now study, it's called. So it's trial of early therapies during non-hospitalized outpatient window for COVID-19. So this is for people who already have diagnosed with COVID, but they're outpatient. Okay, so we will conduct an investigator-initiated, multi-center. So see, investigator-initiated is good because you can reach out to the doctor who created this study because it's multi-center. So let's see, they want 900 participants. Okay. And Chris and I are working on a similar study, by the way, for our CRO, which is also investigator-initiated, and they are happy to have as many sites. What's that?
It's also hydroxychloroquine, which is the fifth study.
That's right. That's right. So it's randomized, blinded, multi-center, triple masking. So everybody's blinded. Hydroxychloroquine, matching placebo tablets, lopinavir. So trial of early therapies during non-hospitalized outpatient window. So they're comparing hydroxychloroquine, then placebo. They're comparing in group 2 lopinavir and then placebo control. So you can actually get, if you have COVID, from what I'm understanding, maybe correct me if I'm wrong, Dr. Al, you can be given a placebo or you're guaranteed to get something according to this chart.
I think if you're stable as an outpatient, it's his first statement you say, and it is fair to give placebo because most of the people that infected walking in the street now,
Okay.
they're not getting anything. So as a placebo. Now they're taking this patient who's not taking anything, including his information and his results in the clinical trial.
Mm-hmm. So you're either going to get hydroxychloroquine,
Hydroxychloroquine versus lopinavir in combination with ritonavir, which is antiviral medication, and versus placebo.
Okay.
So I'm just kind of curious, and I don't remember if I was talking with you, talking to Dan about this or not, but I was talking to somebody recently. So hydroxychloroquine reduces inflammation. So how does this work on COVID? And what's your thoughts on that?
In one of the processes that happened, I'm not the expert in this. I'm an oncologist, but I've
Sure.
been hearing about this, and so if I said something, correct me, guys. But the major thing that can happen with COVID is the cytokine storm, and they're trying to reduce this because this cytokine storm can cause the inflammatory response in the body, and trying to reduce it may reduce the inflammation and the bad outcome from COVID.
Okay. Well, I think, wasn't I talking with this with you, Dan?
Yeah, we were when we were monitoring.
Yeah.
Which I would share that study, but I feel like we shouldn't because we're not neutral parties to that. What makes this good is we have nothing to gain or lose by saying this is a good study, we would take it, or this is a bad study, we wouldn't take it. Which on this study, the first study, we actually didn't do what you think a budget would be, and it would be hard to tell how many visits there are.
Yeah, there's no information there to really take a stab.
I think in the first study, guys, I'm sorry, but it will be I think they're doing it inside the hospital. That's why they chose the Hoag Center, which is a hospital. It's not a community center because they're going to do the phase 1, which is they're going to do the peak and all this measurement. The patient may have to stay in the hospital for a couple of days continuously to measure his titer of the antibodies while they're giving the vaccine.
Yes.
Right.
So maybe that's why, yeah.
Yeah, good point. Good point. So this would be lucrative because it's 6 months. 6 months. Now, I don't think they're staying inpatient the entire 6 months, but they are checking the IgG, IgM, for the efficacy, then for the optimal dose of the SARS-CoV-2 antigen. So it's hard to tell what the budget would be, but usually phase 1 studies pay really well. Yeah.
Very expensive study.
The second one, is what phase is this? Phase 2, outpatient. So this one, we might be able to have more information because look at all these outcomes, primary and secondary. So death, were they hospitalized, and then what type of hospitalization were they given or not hospitalized. Those are the primary outcomes. Secondary outcomes, time frame by day 8. So by day 15, so it's a 15-day study, looks like. Oh no, day 29 is a modified COVID ordinal outcome scale. And I think that's it. So number of days outside the hospital-free days is one of the other secondary. And we're going to put all the links underneath the video and in the show notes so you can see for yourself.
Just remember, Dan, the treatment for this in hydroxychloroquine is only for 4 days. For the antiviral is 14 days. So they measure, okay, and if you look in on the study itself, explanation, they put this there. So that's why it is only 29 days.
I gotcha. It makes more sense now. And they have locations. They have University of Colorado, another medical center, Vanderbilt. So this is being done by a university, Vanderbilt, and in collaboration with AbbVie. So I guess they're doing this on the patients that are coming into the hospital with, COVID symptoms, but even though it's outpatient.
Yeah, they have more ability to screen the patients. That's why, maybe. Sorry, okay. Monica, go ahead.
No, I just was going to mention that one is for 900 patients, so it's a lot more.
Yeah. If you're a site and interested in this study, this would be one that would be worth contacting.
Right.
And to me, Chris, correct me if I'm wrong. To me, this one seems to be probably having a very good budget too. No.
Well, both Dr. Al and Dan pointed out that the other one was a phase 1 trial. It's going to have a more lucrative budget. But again, I just don't think they're going to be looking for other sites. But I would contact them if interested. But I don't think this budget's going to be something to sneeze at either. It's going to be reasonably good.
Because the inclusion and exclusion says that the patient population that they want is people that have the COVID but are not getting pretty much treatment yet, and it's in between certain period of times that they have the condition.
So at this point, I've negotiated 2 COVID budgets for our clients. Both of them are very similar. They're both right around $8,000 per completed patient, and they're both, I think, around 6 total visits, and half of those are phone call visits. So that's a good budget. If you're only coming to the clinic 3 times and the patient, completed patient total is $8,000, it's a good budget. So yeah, I would speculate this would probably be similar just because, my experience thus far. Probably something very similar. 29-day study, that's very similar to the other 2. Most of the visits will probably be phone call visits, as the other 2 were, and then a few on-site visits. Seems to be kind of the standard for these studies, again, with my limited experience.
So for the third study, evaluating safety, tolerability, immunogenicity of BACT-TRL spike vaccine for prevention of COVID-19. So another vaccine. What is this, Dr. Al?
Oh, wow, that's something really new. That's something really new. That's the BACT-TRLs is something that a platform that's made by a company called SymVivo, SYMVIVO, and they're trying to give genetically modified probiotic bacteria to colonize the gut, and because we know the gut is full of the lymphoid tissue, and trying to produce immunogenicity through the guts for the body. And it is a phase, it is like still a preclinical study. Okay, so they're trying to see the effect of, you see the dosing for it is in 1 billion and 10 billion. That's the probiotic dosing that you find over the counter, but this is a probiotic that's genetically modified and given to the patient. And the SymVivo BCR trial platform that the doing it.
Okay.
Like the ringtone, Dr. Al.
Yeah, it's a nice one.
Doctor, I think this one is an oral vaccine, isn't it?
It is a vaccine, but it is
orally delivered.
Orally delivered, where it can stimulate your gut to produce antibodies against the vaccine.
Interesting.
Very interesting.
Mm.
That's what I'm
Chris,
saying.
we know
Yeah.
somebody who would be interested
Exactly
in
what I
I know.
was exactly thinking.
Yeah,
we can't
it
mention
is
it. We
very.
can't mention
Yeah.
it. Okay, so detailed description. First in human study. So phase 1 trial designed to evaluate the safety and tolerability of the orally delivered BACT/TRL spike vaccine in healthy adults. Let's see what the inclusion exclusion criteria, because they're breaking it down into different groups, different cohorts.
6 groups,
Yeah.
with and without.
Yeah, and the previous one was 9. The first one, the first vaccine that we were talking, they had 9 arms.
Yeah.
And
This is 4, but 4 times 2. So you get placebo or single data, total anticipated enrollment, 84 receiving active vaccine and 28 receiving placebo, bacterial medium only. So let's see what the inclusion exclusion is. Here's the treatment arms, interventional treatment. What do you think about this, Dr. L? The way it's designed?
I think the designation is like to say different dosing of the vaccine, 1 billion, 3 billion, and 10 billion. Colony forming units of the plasmid induced antibody versus placebo, which will be fair and give you much better results or end results about what you're looking at, and measure the antibody response for different dosing of the vaccine.
Okay. Let's see, outcome measures. Frequency of AEs.
Which is
Secondary.
safety.
Yeah, it's all safety. Up to 12 months post-vaccine. And then immune response against, so they're seeing how the body works against the spike protein. Incidence of COVID-19 infection up to 12 months post-vaccine. Time frame. So you have, and then they have a stool post-vaccination. So what is this? Isolation of viable BACT/TRL spike from stool post-vaccination. Huh. Okay. This
Because they're
definitely.
giving it orally, so they want to see
Yeah.
if there is it absorbed, is it working in the body? Maybe the 1 billion will work, the 10 billion will be excess and will be secreted.
Yeah.
So why they should waste it? That's why.
So 19 and older, which is interesting age.
Yeah. Dog.
Yeah, and then here it says 18 and older.
I think it's
So-
okay.
Yeah, we found a mistake. Okay, inclusion criteria, 18, capable to do consent, able to understand and agrees to comply. This is you think you need a phase 1 center with overnight stays for this, or this outpatient?
No, this is outpatient only, because the measurement is not on a very frequent basis. It's
Right.
only-
Right. Okay. And then exclusion. So this is more typical of inclusion exclusion for most studies
Yeah.
that we're used to. You know, you have like 9, inclusion, 27 excluded ones. I mean, they don't allow asthma medications, right? Corticosteroids. They don't allow a lot of stuff, so it'd be hard to enroll patients. But let's see. They want. Where's the numbers here? They want. So they have.
112.
UCSD, they want 112. Okay, they have only 3 sites. So UCSD, one in British Columbia, another hospital, and another one in Canada, Nova Scotia, Canadian Center for Vaccinology. So, I mean, being that it's a private company.
Yeah, this is the name of the platform.
Yeah.
Vivo.
So it wouldn't hurt if you, like, would you apply for this study, Dr. Al, for your practice, or anybody that would probably benefit from doing this study as a doctor, like to enroll patients?
I think this is a very novel study, and clinically it is very nice type of study like to be done, because it's easy, it's something oral, and what you have to do after that is just mainly to draw blood and check for and stool to check for the
Yeah.
response for the vaccine.
So Chris, if you, for a site, for a doctor out there looking to do research, like how, as far as the budgets, you know, where would this one fall into?
Any information on number of visits?
No, but they're,
It is 12 to 13 months, so at least once a month or twice a month.
yeah, up to 12 months. It's going to be at least once day 7, 14, 21, and 1 in 3 months post-vaccine. And then it's another 12 months post-vaccine.
So those
There's
would be
probably like 10 visits or 12 visits maybe.
and most of
more.
those are like their clinic visits, right? Not over the phone.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
would all have to be with labs and stool
Right.
samples and different things like that. So it's pretty involved. And it might be more than 12 visits. I'm just estimating here.
Sure. You're probably looking at around 15,000 completed patients, would be my guess.
Okay. So this probably still less paying than this one, but it's still a healthy budget for studies. I mean, above average.
Yeah, I think I will have the population for this study, for any of these studies, if they offered it to your firm, guys. I think it is very feasible
Yeah.
and fast to be done.
I think so too, especially with the 112 patients amongst those 3 studies. But we all know recruitment is slow, so there's always rescue sites brought on. You know, they're literally called rescue sites because they're rescuing a study from low enrollment. And oftentimes these academic centers, I mean, I'm not talking, I don't know anything about UCSD, or certainly not these other ones in Canada, but oftentimes academic centers start off very good with enrollment and then just kind of phase out, either because they got more projects or they just ran out of the patients or the staff. You know, there's a lot of turnover, coordinators left, and so there's so many studies at these type of institutions. There's always an opportunity for a private clinic to get involved, especially as an add-on site. So don't be scared if you're a doctor watching this and, you know, like, you should apply to all 3 of these. I mean, it's unlikely they're all going to say yes. None of them are probably going to say yes, but you just do this enough. I mean, the context is here. You just do this enough to where eventually you're going to be selected, and now you're going to understand, you know, what it takes to do research and all these kind of things. So those are the 3 studies and all these kind of things. So those are the 3 studies. Monica, I know we have like 10 minutes left, but you
Yeah.
had other images, right? You want me to share those?
Yeah.
What am I
Yeah.
doing now? Image 1?
So image 1, yeah. This is just, I mean, general information. As of, these are the statistics that I found interesting. So the first,
perfect segue of what we were just talking about.
yeah.
There's more than the 3 that we discussed. There's
Yeah.
plenty. There's plenty. Look at this.
Yeah. So the
2,300.
first one will be the one, the last one you have here.
Oh, the last one. Okay, so not this image. So this one.
No, the other one. Sorry, it's because I can see it. The one that I say number 1. That one.
This one?
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't think I'm seeing it.
Let's see.
Double click it, Dan.
No? What's the other one?
Double click it.
There's this one.
No.
Early result timelines most promising.
Yeah. So the first one you clicked on, Dan, please.
Okay.
Okay, that one. So worldwide, there are 2,341 studies happening right now as of yesterday.
Dan,
And
you need to enlarge it. We can't see anything.
Yeah, I can't see anything.
You need to double click it, Dan, to get bigger.
Something.
Let's see.
Or Monica can just read it off.
It's just an image, so I have to zoom.
yeah,
But you can open it. Right click on it.
Let's see.
Right click on it. Okay, open with.
Yeah, it's the way the image is. It's just it's not actual website, it's just the image.
I know, but go back, right click.
Let's see.
maybe
Open with.
He's saying.
Open with the click on this.
Yeah, it's gonna pull up the same thing. I could zoom in and move. So number of COVID studies registered worldwide.
As of June 29, 2020. So 2,341 studies around the world. And the United States is carrying out 575 currently. Then the other one, the previous, let me see.
All right, so far, since the audience can't see this, because at this point, Dr. Al and myself are the audience, you said there's 2,500 studies going on worldwide, 500 of them are in the United States for COVID.
Almost 600 in the United States.
Okay.
Yeah, North America. And I think the viewers will see it better. The audio people are just going to hear what we're saying.
Okay.
Yes, okay. So the early results timelines for most promising COVID studies. So the one that is leading the results and that have better outcome are remdesivir, which is Gilead Science. Do you remember that we were talking about this study previously, Chris?
Yeah.
That you were okay. So they are the ones that have better results, and the second in line is the one we just spoke about, which is the hydrochloroquine and chloroquine drug. So that they have like 3 pages of the leading studies, and I realized that at least 60% are treatments rather than vaccines.
Mm-hmm.
So
and then what's this last one here?
And the last one is okay.
Total global pharma spending in 2019.
Yes, in COVID 2019. So this one is in spending. This is in research, obviously. So it was 182 billion US dollars.
Wow.
The company that has spent globally, the top pharmaceutical company that have spent most money is Roche Pharmaceuticals. And then they just mentioned the vaccine revenue of GSK in 2019, which is 9.14 billion US dollars.
Wow. Yeah, so that just shows you guys, the opportunities here as we wrap up. Every week, we're actually going to be looking at 3 or 4 different studies, maybe 5, and talking similar. Like, it's not always going to be about coronavirus, but right now, we're living in the real world. There's tons of coronavirus studies. So we're going to be talking about a lot more of them. Maybe next week we'll do more COVID. Maybe we can have an expert on. I know Dr. Al has some colleagues that are treating patients with COVID. We can
talk
have
to a couple of them, and they're more than happy to sit and talk to us about the more specific things.
Yeah, maybe they know about some studies that they're actually curious about, so we can discuss those studies too. So that would be good. That would be good for these Zoom meetings. And we're always going to try to make it practical for the doctors, because it's not just to learn about the science. That's great, but it's to learn, okay, how does this apply to me if I want to do research and I'm the doctor? And then we try to throw in the budgets and kind of what we do. The 3 studies we saw, the first one, if you have a phase 1 unit, you can do it. That's probably the most complicated study from the 3. The second 2, the last 2 were relatively simple, especially the second one. And then the third one we saw looked like a good budget as well. So just wanted to make it practical for you guys. If you ever need help setting up your sites, getting studies, we're available. We've got another company called Republic of Research where we're helping sites get set up with studies from an operational standpoint anyways. So thank you guys.